remember it like it just happened yesterday, when my husband and I decided to go biking with our electric bikes along the trail at Fort Snelling State Park. The weather was perfect, slightly cool with the sun warming our backs. The trees were full and green, and the river moved slowly beside the trail like something out of a peaceful dream. Everything felt calm and beautiful, and I even told my husband that this was one of the nicest places we had ever ridden together. He smiled and said we should come back more often, and for a while that's all it was. Just us enjoying the quiet, the sound of tires rolling over pavement, birds calling in the distance, and the occasional breeze brushing past us. But as we kept going further down the trail, things slowly started to feel different. Not obvious at first, just a strange silence that seemed heavier than before, like the park had suddenly emptied itself. And then we saw him, standing just off the side of the trail, a tall, unnaturally skinny man wearing full camouflage clothing, his face completely covered so we couldn't see any features at all, and over his chest he wore a black vest, and in his hands he held something long and black, not quite clear what it was, but long enough to make me uncomfortable immediately. My heart skipped, and I glanced quickly at my husband. But we didn't stop. We didn't say anything. We just kept riding straight past him. And what was strange was that he didn't even look at us, didn't turn his head, didn't react at all as we passed only a few feet away, like we weren't even there. And I remember feeling relieved once we were further down the trail, but also unsettled in a way I couldn't explain, like something about that moment wasn't right, like we had passed through something we weren't supposed to notice. And later that evening, we went home and didn't think much more about it, just brushed it off as some random person in the park. But that night, everything changed. I woke up suddenly at exactly 3:07 a.m. I didn't even know why at first. It was just that kind of jolt awake where your body feels like it was pulled out of sleep. And immediately, I noticed my husband next to me struggling to breathe, his chest rising unevenly, like he was choking or trying to gasp for air. I turned toward him, and that's when I heard it. A woman's voice, soft but clear, right between us, not coming from across the room, not from outside, but right there, inches from my ear, whispering or chanting something I couldn't understand. It wasn't English, it wasn't anything familiar, just a low rhythmic murmur that made my skin crawl. I felt frozen for a moment, like my body didn't want to move, but I forced myself to sit up, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. And when I looked down at my husband, I saw something I will never forget. Sitting on top of him was an elderly woman, thin, pale, her face wrinkled and unfamiliar, her eyes hollow and fixed, her hair gray and stringy. And there was something about her that felt wrong in a way I can't fully explain, like she didn't belong in this world. She was pressing down on his chest as he struggled beneath her, his arms barely moving, like he couldn't fight back. And I knew in that moment it was some kind of sleep paralysis, but it didn't feel like a dream. It felt real, too real. I tried to reach out, to grab him, to push her off, but everything felt heavy, like I was moving through thick air. And the woman slowly turned her head toward me, her eyes locking onto mine, and the whispering stopped instantly, replaced by complete silence that was somehow even worse. And then, just like that, she was gone. My husband gasped loudly and sat up, grabbing his chest, looking around confused and terrified, asking me what happened, and I couldn't even answer right away. because I was still trying to process what I had just seen. We both stayed awake for a long time after that, neither of us wanting to go back to sleep. But eventually, exhaustion took over, and the next morning, everything felt off, like the air in the house was heavier, like something had followed us home. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just a nightmare, just sleep paralysis, something people talk about all the time. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. Later that day, I went to pick up my mom to take her to the store, trying to distract myself and get back to normal. And as I was backing out of the driveway, I suddenly heard a woman's voice clearly say, "Hello?" right inside the car. Not from outside, not from the radio, but right there next to me. I froze and immediately looked at my mom, asking if she had said anything or if her phone had accidentally called someone, but she looked at me confused and said no. Her phone was in her purse and there was no call, no sound, nothing. And that same cold feeling washed over me again, the same one I felt on the trail and in the bedroom, like something unseen was right there, watching, listening, waiting. When we got back home, I couldn't ignore it anymore. I started searching online about Fort Snelling State Park, reading story after story about strange encounters, unexplained sightings, people hearing voices, feeling watched, even reports of figures appearing at night or along the trails. And the more I read, the more everything started to connect in a way that made my stomach turn. The man we saw, the woman in the night, the voice in the car, it all felt linked somehow, like we had crossed paths with something that didn't want to be left behind. And that's when I made my decision. I told my husband we are never going back there again, no matter how beautiful it looks, no matter how peaceful it seems during the day. Because some places can hide things you don't see until it's too late. And I would rather stay away than ever risk bringing something like that home again.